It's happened in China, where the Asian education system is pushing everybody through one door, and not everybody can get in. So some people are going to get squished, some people are going to get hurt. Even if you don't kill yourself, if it kills your spirit, if you don't get into an entrance exam, if you don't get a particular college, okay, most people won't kill themselves, but they start feeling something is wrong with me. I will not make it in life. I'm not as good as that guy. Even though only 2% people can make it, 98% cannot. But if you let yourself go down and let yourself, it's okay to be disappointed, but if you quit, that's very bad. And I think that's something people at large need to realize, that this education system is good. It teaches us to be hardworking. It teaches us a lot of things, but it's not perfect. There are a lot of problems with the system, and that's what I think I tried to bring out in this book.
So the myth that even Bill Gates who quit Harvard won't sell well in India, right?
No, you don't. It's just not the beaten. And I'm not even saying that people should quit or things. I think people should know what their aptitude is and go in that direction a little bit. Because I after this movie and book has come out, so many people meet me, and I've met, just the other day I met a mother who, with her daughter was there. The daughter said, I want to be a baker. I want to bake. And my mother wants me to be a dentist because I've gotten into dental college. So if you become a baker, you harm the teeth. If you become a dentist, you cure the teeth. And it's quite an interesting choice there. And I told, so they both, mother and daughter, came to me and they said, please help us decide this. Now, I'm also a pragmatic guy. It's not like I'm going to say, but I told the mother that even being pragmatic, I'm also a parent now, I think bakers can make a lot of money. If your daughter said she wants to be a movie star, then I would have said be careful, because if you don't have a background, it's very difficult to become a movie star, right? 1 in a million can become. But if you're good at baking and you do a damn good job at baking, you'll probably make more money than a bad dentist, right? And you'll make people more happy and give people less pain. But the compromise was reached that the daughter really didn't want to go to college, and the mother said, it's my dream. I said, okay, she will join college, but if she hates it in a few months, you will let her quit. So, because the mother was like, my daughter doesn't even know, she just likes cakes, so she's saying it. But I said, you let her join, but if she hates it, let her quit. So those kind of dilemmas are there, It's not even being pragmatic. If everybody becomes an accountant, if everybody becomes a doctor or engineer, they are not going to be very competitive. But if somebody loves baking or somebody loves gardening, if they become the best baker in town, they'll be richer than an average doctor, I think.
Now to go back to the film, how far did you take part in it during the filming? For example, did you go together with the crew to the northern part of India, in this lovely visual dichotomy of the city versus nature, towards the end?
Yeah, I didn't do that.
The reunion scene takes place.
Actually, I helped them research the university aspect. I am actually from that school, right? So I am an engineer myself. So the filmmakers had little background. So I helped them research on that a lot. The fact that, so many people give the exam, only 1 or 2% get in. The kind of pressures, that almost nobody who comes to this college comes because they love engineering. And that's the shocking thing for me. They come because their parents are poor and they want to get a good life. They are coming because they want to make it in life. Very few people really are interested in machines and inventing things and actually becoming an engineer, which was very shocking to me. So all these insights I kind of helped them with, and then, what looks beautiful visually is not my department, frankly. But then they do that. Like, for example, in the book it's a little different, this scene. They use bottles and something, but it won't look so nice on screen. This scene works for movie a lot because it's so easy to figure out and creates a funny moment. So that they do. There's an adaptation process which took 2-3 years. So, that's how it happened.
Well, it might be a bit of a blessing in disguise because India could provide so many IT talents to America. It's the Silicon Valley and San Diego and San Jose. Cities like these in America are full of Indian IT.
And Chinese.
And Chinese?
Yeah.
More Indians.
We are running the world, sort of. But it's there. Yes, it's in some ways a lot of Indians have gone and done well there and they've sent money home. But we have so many IT professionals. But India has not made one Facebook. They've not made one Google. They've not made one Twitter. They've not made one truly innovative internet company. Not even Instagram. Why is it that we train our kids to be such good engineers, but they're not creative, they're not innovative, they're not able to come up with new ideas? They're very good. If you hire them and you tell them, sit at this computer, do a good job, they'll do it. But they're not able to be creative, to visualize, and what is missing? Because the person who's creative owns it and gets far more profit, far more returns, and that's what's something to do with the education system, because we are pushing people like sheep and they're not conceiving. And there we have so many, not a lot, but many Americans who at a very young age had a dream and they set up a company, and pretty much those companies are billion-dollar corporations now. That happens very rarely in India and China. Where it happens is the new billionaires are people who are connected to the government, right? Basically, I think in India it is, and I think it's fair to say in China it is. That's more a different kind of capitalism. That's not a good capitalism. That's nepotism mixed with capitalism, and that's not going to lead to a very good society later on. So I think those are some of the things. Not only this book, it's a big interest area for me. That why is it that they are more creative? Why is it that they are more innovative? What is wrong in our kids? When they go there, they get more grades, better grades, but it's just interesting.
We Chinese are asking the same question. And the easy answer is we have a communist dictatorship that doesn't allow freedoms. Whereas in India, it's a
we have too much
democracy.
freedom, yeah.
We
have too much freedom.
There's the
But
other
freedom
way
can
around.
be abused also, right? So, yes, we have. I don't think it's got to do with communist thing. I think it is to do with a conservative society where breaking the norm is not encouraged. People are told to fall in line because it's considered disrespectful. It's not so much to do with the political system. Trust me, China is far more capitalist than India in many ways. I don't know why
The
they...
grass is always greener next door.
No, I'm saying in terms of capitalism, in terms of investment, in terms of course, the grass is greener, but I mean, it's a nice branding, communist party, right? I mean, but it's often, it is also a very pragmatic party. And I'm not saying it as a criticism. I think they also realize that if they have to create jobs for millions of people, it's not going to happen by just everybody singing slogans together. They will have to do business. And that is there. But the creative aspect is missing because, I'll give you an example. I don't know, tell me how it will happen in China. But let's say if it's raining, if a father takes a kid to a park, okay, 4-year-old boy in India, and it starts raining, or in China, or in India, and it starts raining, what is the father going to tell the kid? Let's go home, right? That's what they'll say. It's raining, let's go home. You know what they say in the US? Do you want to go home? Do you know the difference, right? You are asking the child a question. You're
giving him
asking the
a
child
choice.
to choose, teaching him how to be independent. It's cultural. It's got nothing to do with political parties or whatever. It's the way, and maybe there is a lesson for all the parents that you make the child think. Rather than saying, come, let's go. It's raining. It shouldn't be like that. It should be, do you want to go home? Right? And the child says, yes, I think we should go home. And that's how it begins. And I think somewhere there, the family values, the education system is to do with when we are growing up, I mean, we cannot tell the teacher that what are you talking about? You're talking nonsense. I mean, you'll be told to get out of class. But over there, I mean, I'm not saying you should be allowed to be disrespectful, but they do say, I don't agree with you. Whereas here, you better agree. So, it's leading to this difference. And I'm not saying they are better than us. I'm just saying it's just these two different ways.
Different cultural mindsets. Whereas answering back is not considered a big social crime. Whereas in China, well, we have been influenced by Confucius values. Being respectful to teachers and parents comes first.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's the same in India. I don't know whether it's Confucian, it's more Brahminical values, but I think we also must take some things to learn from there. Yeah.
Now, after having seen the film, I was dying to know what secondary and primary schools in India are like. Right? So, I mean, something must have gone wrong at an early stage of education, just like in Hong Kong. We have just been given what you call national education, in school, right? Students are expected to be taught how they should love modern China and the modern Chinese government.
Wow.
It's part of patriotism. Now, does it apply to? Is that the case in India too?
There is a little bit, but not so much. But there is there was recently a case where many political parties removed controversial cartoons from the history. They were in the textbooks of students. There were cartoons from various movements, and if they found them offensive, they were asked to remove them. There is a little bit of that happening, but not so much. We are more concerned that there aren't schools. You at least have schools where they teach patriotism or whatever. But I think pan-India, there is a big problem that in villages there aren't enough good schools. I think across the world there is a problem that the world has changed so much in the last 15-20 years. The way business is done, everything has changed so much. But have the course materials changed at the same pace? No. The course materials are still same. What we were taught is pretty much same as what my children are being taught. Of course, some basics are same, but the way to do business today is very different from what it was 20 years ago. But the course materials are not revised as fast because of various reasons.
So there is not a separate national education curriculum in Indian primary and secondary schools in which students are told that the social system in Pakistan is a bad one.
No, but I've heard in Pakistan they have one, that India is bad. But we are bad. We have to fix ourselves, and
because we have been told that the American democratic system make people suffer. Right?
Yeah, and now you do know that that's not true. So I think the biggest thing parents need to do is not over-depend on schools for whatever learning is coming. Schools are 15-20% of your time. Most of education comes from outside school. Schools will teach you some things, but how to network, how to talk to people, how to present yourself, how to build confidence, how to take risks. Schools can't teach all this. And it is ultimately these things that make people successful in life. And these, and how to use judgment, that what I've been told is not correct. Or check for yourself. I don't know the particular, but it is true that if I'm told something, or if you as a journalist are told something, you will check your facts from 2-3 different places. Now that a school may not teach you, and that's something people need to think for themselves. The thing is, it's very difficult to think for some reason. I think human beings don't like thinking, so we just like to do what we are told too much. Yeah.
So how does the caste system influence the education there?
Well, we did have a class system.
Would that contribute to part of the repressiveness of innovation?
There is a lot of that, but it's gone in the urban areas. It's there in the rural areas. Rural areas are still 60-70% of the population, and there